G'day guys, welcome back to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate for another special video, which I don't really want to talk about this, but we have to address the elephant in the room and we'll give you our thoughts on this topic. And by the title, you guys already know what it's called. And pretty much today, there's a bad loss. It was a really, really bad loss, but I believe it's on the whole team. We're going to get into it a little bit, but we're going to focus on today, Kenny Pickett. And my question is to you, Owen, is Kenny Pickett a bust? And we're going to dive through this.
My answer to that, Mark, is quite clear and simple. It's no. You cannot label someone a first-round bust or any sort of bust after only 16 quarters of football. You can't even label someone a bust after one season, in my opinion. You've got to give them time to bed into a team, time to move up that level from college sport to National Football League, where there is a huge, huge difference between in talent.
Okay, let's explore that idea just for a little bit. Where does this term, bust or, where does it come from, basically? Why are we giving that privilege as a fan to call him a bad player from being that high of a reach within 3 games? Where does that even come from to label him that before we even give him that label?
I think what it is because he's a first-round pick. And it's the same thing that happened with Terrell Edmonds. It's the same thing that's happened with a number of players in the first round. The moment a first rounder comes in, you expect them to come in and set the world alight because they're a first round pick. Because they were picked in the first round, they are supposedly, therefore, one of 32 of the most talented young players in the country that you are getting hold of. And Steelers taking Pickett at 20, therefore he is the 20th best player in the country. Therefore, he should come in and light it up. He is a rookie. How many of the first 32 players taken in last year's draft have come in this season and lit it up already? I'd Sauce Gardner, and after that, I'd struggle, to be honest with you, to name one.
That's it. I think for me, this term bust, I think, is what our generation is going through with the new generation of society is like, what have you done for me lately? What is happening? The instant gratification of like, I want it now. Yeah. You see that red notification come up, and hopefully you guys hit that like, and click your notifications so you get all Steelers news on this podcast and Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Cheesy plug, but that's the way it is, right? We need to be instantly gratified straight away. We have to. We want Kenny Pickett to go out there and win, and we want him to win 5 games, 6 games in a row, right? And even if he does so well being successful, there is, once you climb the ladder and someone knocks underneath you, go start going bad, then it's back to who's the next guy. And I think also this term like bust, it always comes into, if a player is playing bad, we want to replace him with someone else straight away. It did happen with Trubisky, but I'm not really a fan of Trubisky because I think he had six years to play. I thought he played pretty terrible, but this offensive stuff with the offensive coordinator, it's pretty bad. Doesn't matter who you put back there, right? Yeah. What are your thoughts on if you were to say, we're labeling Kenny a bust, but we've had now the offensive coordinator. He's had 4 quarterbacks, and it's been the same result. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you've got to get into the headset, the whole mindset of the fact that if you are if you're one person and you have 4 friends, right, and all the 4 friends don't like you and they don't get on with you, it's not their problem. It's not their fault. It's your fault. You're doing something that is upsetting them. And by the same token, with the Steelers, Matt Canada had Ben Roethlisberger, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play the game. And the only time the Steelers looked decent with Ben was last year. And I know Ben was coming to the end of his time, but was when Ben took over the offense and ran the offense himself. Then he's had Trubisky, he's had Pickett, he's had Rudolph to some extent as well. And he's sucked with all of them. The offense has sucked with every single one of them. The only time the offense has looked half decent is in those 7 games last season when Ben took over calling the plays by, as he said, and there's evidence for this. Ben, go and watch the footballing podcast where he says this. I drew up plays in the dirt. I ran the offense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think even this year with Kenny Pickett and even Trubisky and stuff like that, the only time we do look good is when we are in the no huddle offense or in the 2-minute drill. We have to go and score. Right. Other than that, it does fall on the OC. But getting back to the theme of the video, and we're talking about Kenny Pickett being a bust. Overall, do you believe that the supporter group for the Steelers? Is it an easy question or an easy statement to make that he's a bust? Like, there's no, what I'm saying?
It's easy because we're losing, because we're not winning, because he's not going out there and throwing 4 or 5 touchdown passes every week, because the offense isn't putting up 25, 30 points every week. Blame Kenny. It's Kenny's fault. He's the quarterback. Blame him. He's a bust. He's rubbish. He can't do his job. And I think you were right. We do live in an instant gratification society. And what have you done for me lately, society? And I don't want to make this an age thing, but to me, it seems that everybody under a certain age is very much of this. It's got to be instant. It's the 3-second generation. It's the 3-second. Look, I used to, a long time ago, I used to work in the field of education. And you know what? We branded children the 3-second generation, because if something doesn't get their interest in 3 seconds, they turn off. Well, and some Steeler fans are like that. They're the 3-second generation. If Pickett doesn't go out there and throw a 60-yard bomb to Chase Claypool or George Pickens on the first play, that's it. They're done with him.
I tell you right now, we check our analytics for YouTube, and about 60% of you have already checked out.
Yeah,
I know it. I already know it. 60% of you have already checked out. So thank you for the other 40% of sticking around for this conversation. We know it. We average on 3 minutes, 2 minutes to retain the viewership and be like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. Yeah. That's a little bit insider of YouTube stuff, but that's true. Right? We click a video, we see the title, and we go, yeah, Kenny's a bust, and you run out of there. You don't stick around. And we do that for our players right now. We're so excited. How excited were the Pittsburgh Steelers fans to go and draft Kenny? And it's been 3.5 games and you're going to label him a bust? That's crazy to me.
I know. I mean, by that same token, Mark, using the criteria that those fans that have come on tonight on our live show and said, Kenny's finished, Kenny's a bust, Kenny's awful. Right, guys. So by your logic, Terry Bradshaw is a bust.
Same with Big Ben too. Big Ben started out pretty bad. Right. He knew he had a bad. That Super Bowl wasn't. He didn't win the first one.
Right,
he
Mark,
didn't. The defense won it.
Let me share this with you, Mark. Terry Bradshaw's first season as a Pittsburgh Steeler, right? 6 touchdowns, 24 interceptions.
That's awesome.
Terry Bradshaw's second season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 13 touchdowns, 22 interceptions.
That's awesome. And he went on to now he's a 4-time Super Bowl champion.
4-time Super Bowl champion. I think he won the MVP once as well. He was a league MVP once. He was I think it was 6-time Pro Bowler.
Why do we give up so early? If Kenny's a bust, why do we give up so early?
Because we want it to be instantaneous. We want it to be now. We want to be going into the bye at 6-2 or 7-1, and we want Pickett to have won 6 games, 7 games. Or we want to finish the season at 14-3, 12-5, 11-6, whatever, because that's what's expected. And look, we have as a supporter base, we have been so spoilt. We've had 3 head coaches in 60 years. We've had 6 Super Bowls. We've been to 8 Super Bowls. We're 8 times AFC champions. We've got more Hall of Fame players than any other franchise. No, actually, second most after Green Bay. Second most Hall of Fame players in history. The standards that Steeler fans have are high. I get that, but we are spoilt as a franchise, and we are not prepared. Well, no, I'll rephrase that. A certain percentage of our fan base are not prepared to let people develop. They want instant success, and they want it now. And if they don't get instant gratification, instant success, you're rubbish. You can't do your job.
Can we not go through any adversity? Now, I still believe our team can go out there and win. And I did mention playoffs in my video on Still Nation Australia, and someone said, playoffs? Why are you talking about playoffs? Because we still have a chance. We still have a chance at the end of the day. We have a bye coming up, and this is the time that Kenny Pickett can turn it around. Why not? Right? To me, it falls on the offensive coordinator. It falls on Mike Tomlin. We talked about that in our live. But to label Kenny Pickett a bust right now, if you keep doing this over and over and over and over, you think who's going to be the next man mentality? Do people will be saying, do you go back to Trubisky? What are your thoughts on going back to Trubisky? Because that's going to be another topic to come up.
It'll be a retrograde step, because we will be having the same conversation in 2 to 3 weeks' time as why Trubisky is a disaster. We go completely out of left field, and we had some people tonight suggesting playing Mason Rudolph, for goodness sake, because he can throw the ball deep, which is something Kenny's not allowed to do and Mitchell's not allowed to do, because Canada won't let them. But you're going to be sitting again 2 or 3 weeks down the line having the exact same discussion about the quarterback, because And I feel like at times I'm banging my head off a brick wall, Mark. I don't know if you feel the same. It's not the quarterback. It's not Kenny that's the problem. It's the plays that have been called into him. It's the scheme that has been called into him.
I will say this though. I will say this. I do agree. I do think, and I mean, you might agree with me. I do think Kenny Pickett is in certain circumstances playing bad, right? Would you not agree he's playing bad in certain
Yeah,
parts, right? We're not
he's a
saying he's not
rookie.
playing. We're not saying he's not playing bad. We're saying there's other elements to this. The offensive line broke down. DJ cannot go for the football, and other players aren't helping him around. There's no support network around Kenny Pickett. If you're just blaming Kenny Pickett, the one guy out of the whole offense, that's crazy to me. There's no support network around the guy. He played pretty bad today. Kenny Pickett did play pretty bad, I must admit. But he's going through the pains, and you have to see what you want, you know?
Yeah.
And to get better, you got to go through that adversity. And I don't think as fans, and some percentage, they just can't handle the idea that we're not successful straight away. And Kenny Pickett, to me, overall, to answer our question, we'll start to wrap it up and go back around full circle, because this is what was been happening the last few years. In my opinion, I don't think he's a bust. I would not, like you said, I would not label him a bust, possibly until his contract's over. I don't know.
Yeah. And the one thing I just want to say, my final comment on this is to those Steeler fans that are saying he's finished, he's a bust. What were you expecting him to do? He is a rookie, right? Josh Allen stank his first year.
He did. He was really bad. He was really bad.
Awful his first year, right? Justin Herbert has not played particularly well the last few years, right? He's been okay, but how many times have the Chargers gone to the playoffs and succeeded?
I'm not too sure.
Exactly. And for every Patrick Mahomes who instantly comes in and is a success, you're not going to get that with every quarterback. And like I said, what did you expect Kenny to do? He is a rookie. He is learning. He is finding his way in the game. And this is his first season. He's had to come in and take over on an awful offense with an awful coordinator, with a struggling defense on a struggling team, and you expect him to turn it round. He's a rookie.
Just one final thought on that, on Josh Allen having an all-pro career right now and possibly going to the Super Bowl, right? I looked up his stats. Josh Allen, and we're going to end it on this, and we're going to say one final thing at the end. Josh Allen in his first year in 2018 was 169 for 320, 52% completion, 2,074 yards. If you want to judge stats on Kenny Pickett throwing interceptions, this is exactly the same. Average was 6.5, really bad. 10 TDs, 12 interceptions, and 75 longest pass, and 28 sack, QBR of 49, right? Now, Pickett's numbers are very similar to that. I think he's thrown out eight interceptions, 2 TDs. If you're going to judge Kenny Pickett being a bust or Josh Allen like a bust like this, I'm not comparing the two players. I'm just saying the scenario is exactly the same. He played bad as a rookie in his first year, and then as time developed, he got better and better and better. Mm-hmm. Do you not think, Owen, that this is like, let's just see how it pans out, and this whole notion of like, you call him a bust now, 2 weeks time he goes out there and has a better game versus Saints. Are you back on that train, or are you still calling him a bust? You know, when you say these words, you got to line what you say. And if you're thinking that he's a bad player and this and that, you can be critical of the player, but to overall have I think calling him out and saying he's terrible, he's washed up, he's no good, then you got to see what happens at the end. To me, you have to give time. You have to give time to this player.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with you. You've got to give him time. Young players need time to develop and time to grow into the game. They're not veterans. They're not coming in with a vast wealth of experience they can draw upon. He hasn't got that. His only experience is playing college football. And these people that say, oh, well, he played 5 years in college. Yes, in college football. College football is nowhere near the level of the NFL. Nowhere near the level of the NFL.
And he's playing with an offensive coordinator that cannot design can't design any form of a real NFL playbook. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you made it this far. If you made it this far, hit that sub, hit that like. We're on like 1,770 or something. We appreciate all the like and subs. But let me know in the comments below. And look, don't hold back. If you believe that he's a bust, type it in. But have some discussion,
evidence,
and formulate an opinion behind that. Don't just say he's a bust because he's lost games. You know. Let me know in the comments why you think he's a bust. I don't think he is. I think we need to support him and go through it. And I still think that Kenny Pickett gives us the best chance to win. I I really do. Because everyone cheered for Kenny Pickett once we got him. We were so excited to play him. We cheered Trubisky out of the stadium. Pretty much no one wanted Mason Rudolph to play. And now we have Kenny Pickett, and now some people don't want Kenny Pickett to play. Anyways, guys, thank you for checking out Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, and thank you, Owen, for doing another little mini podcast, I guess, 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys. We'll see you later. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.